No, I just want to be petty. I just want to be petty. I just want to do some pet like.
What do you think about like? Because I think about this a lot. Is like I think about like even us. We got into social media at least when we were like in the higher years of like secondary school. That's when we started getting into that. But like there's like kids who are getting into it like really, really early. Like my brother and sister like had like TikToks like when they were in primary school. And like my brother, even my sister now, she's like I think she's Christ, I'm brother like 14 now, and she like looks back and she's like, oh, that's so cringy. But it's like what do you think about
What are you gonna think of 20 when you're 14?
Yeah, it's like what do you think of these kids getting into social media at such a young age?
Listen, my kid ain't getting a smartphone until they're 16. They're not getting a smartphone until they're 16.
Yeah,
they'll have. I'll save some sort of Nokia, some sort of brick phone. Oh, I don't know, but by then, every phone is probably going to be a smartphone. Like every phone would have Facebook on it or something, but they're not. They are not. Everything in the house is getting monetized, and they're not having their own like smartphone until they're like 16.
Monitoring everything. Yeah.
I don't know how much I could really handle that when I get older and actually have kids. How the world is going to be in at that point, but it's just. I just don't see anything positive from letting a young kid, especially that's not even a teen, letting them scroll on social media or just internet in general. I really don't see anything positive unless you're actively going out and getting something for them, just letting them scroll through whatever they want. I don't see anything positive from it. They're going to see a bunch of things that they don't understand. They're going to see a bunch of things that they think is the world. They're going to see a bunch of things that if they're not taught properly by their parents, they're going to think this is what they need to do to be who they are or something.
Their self-esteem and stuff.
And it's just nothing healthy. There's nothing healthy about it. There's nothing healthy about it. There's like we just said, the people who feel like they need to share on Twitter. There's adults who don't understand how to monetize social media correctly.
Yeah, no, they don't
understand how we gonna
monitor that stuff.
I know we can have kids have it, and
100%.
I'm gonna nah. My kids ain't touching it. Anyone younger than me that I have had power over, you're not touching it. My little brother, I just thought about it now. I'm telling my mum, he's not getting nothing until he's like.
The thing is, like, I think the thing that gets difficult now is like, I think you have to instill like a really strong sense of confidence in your kid.
I'm even happy that we were sort of the last sort of generation to grow up somewhat without any social media.
Not really. Like, I remember not having like the internet in my house.
I remember when there was one computer that was mad slow, but we all used to go in it, not to go on the internet, we used to go in there to play games.
Yeah, man, I remember back in the day, man, playing Club Penguin and stuff on that old computer.
There was this Scooby-Doo game we used to go play on the computer, and the computer was one of them old computers with the hook and
the back.
Yeah, and so I'm grateful that I remember something like that, and I would go to someone else's house and they'd have a computer with internet. I'm like, I can go and do whatever I want, play a game or something. Yeah. So I'm grateful that our generation was sort of the last one where the first half of our childhood was no social media.
Yeah, but just like growing up into that just is.
But yeah, I can't imagine having to grow up into that. I think the first time I started Facebook, I think I was in year 7 or something. My older cousins had, I might have been year 6.
I think it was year 6 for me. I think it was the end of year 6 when everyone wanted to like add each other and connect.
It might have been year 6, but because you didn't have like access just like that to Facebook, you never went on it unless like you never went on it till like every few months. But I remember my older cousins got it, and they're like 3 years older than me, so they must be in year 8 or something, and they went and they made my first email address. My first email address is so corny. It's so corny. But yeah, so I'm grateful. I remember.
Did you ever have MSN?
No.
Never had MSN. Oh yeah, I had MSN in primary school.
I would remember like because I had a bunch of older cousins, so like they were 3 years older than me, 5 years older than me. I remember one of them would have Bebo. So the only reason why I remember people talking about that is because I had an old cousin who had it, and I would be sitting there and she would be on it. Imagine people like all the communications email each other. That's hilarious. Yeah. Like all the communication is emailing each other. Like that's how you have conversations.
Yeah, for real.
That's funny. I would hate if I was. Well, I wouldn't hate it because I'd be doing through it, but I'm just grateful I didn't grow up.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know how to navigate it. Like,
You
Or
wouldn't.
to
You
start?
wouldn't. You would only learn unless you're actively being taught by the people older than your parents or whatnot to not what's the word, to not value that stuff more than you should.
Yeah.
Unless you're being taught that stuff, you're not gonna know until you get to a certain age.
No.
Really, the thing that changed the game was Blackberries.
Yeah.
When Blackberries came in, I got Blackberry quite early. I got it in year 8. And that's year 8, year 9 was people started getting Blackberry.
Yeah.
And then BBM, that was something like, it was so accessible to converse with people, like BBM.
Yeah, it was such an easy thing.
It was such an easy thing to do. So I think that changed the game. From there, then you had the iPhone 4S's and 4s and whatnot.
Yeah.
That then added other stuff. But
yeah, that was quite like, that was such a short-lived thing though. Like
what?
the BBM thing. It just like, it came and went like really quickly.
I think because iPhone just went, all right, cool.
Yeah.
The iPhone saw BBM and said, oh, okay.
Like literally everyone bought BlackBerry just because of BBM.
Yeah, just because of BBM. That was the only thing I had.
It was like a good like 2 years, and then after that, it just like,
was it even 2 years?
It might have been like a year or 2, and then it just disappeared.
Because WhatsApp saw that, said, oh, you're allowing people to message for free. Okay.
Yeah.
WhatsApp came, there was no need for BBM. You could message for free on WhatsApp on any phone.
Yeah.
And then iPhone 4 came, I said, oh, okay. I did what they added.
Yeah.
And then the use for BBM came, the use for Blackberries came at iPhone. That's when iPhone really took over. But in like, before I got Blackberry, even when I had a Blackberry, in like year 7, 8, and 9, like I remember being in school, I was playing football like every day, like break and lunch.
Mm-hmm.
I was always going to play football. I was always out doing something. And I got into year 10 and I stopped playing so much because of, the exams or whatnot started getting a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped playing a lot. And then I would look out and I would see no year 7s or year 8s. It would be lunchtime. I remember lunchtime when I was in like year 7, the Astro, you remember the big Astro? The Astro would be packed. It would be packed.
Yeah.
Your 8s in there, your 9s over there, your 10s and 11s at the back, your 7s here. Everyone would be playing. I got into year 10 and year 11 now. I'm at lunchtime looking at the Astro and it's empty. There's like 40 people in the Astro. I'm like, what's happening? Boy, like, where are people? Like, what are they doing? Like, football, like, don't even, even if it was any sport, like, you would be in the Astro. And I was like, it had to be social media and phones. Like, people would just be on their iPhones. That's what it had to be, I feel.
I think that's the biggest thing for me is like, it's really changed the way people like operate on a daily basis and like how they function. Like there's something like that I was thinking about, is like people are like constantly talking about how they're always bored. And I'm like, how were people back in the day when they had nothing able to not be bored? But we have like Netflix at like a click of a button, Disney Plus, we got video games, we got social media. It's like, what's happening? Why are we so bored? And it like dawned on me, I was like, the problem is we set the goalposts so much higher. It's like none of us like sitting, we'd rather do anything other than like just sitting down. And it's like, if you get to a point, like for me, I'm starting to get to a point where like, I can just sit down and like not do anything for like a bit. And once you do that, it's like, everything else, the standard goes up. It's like, oh, it can't just be any show. It has to be a show that beats sitting down and doing nothing. And now it's like when you have like all these games and stuff, it's like it's so much easier to just interact with your phone than go outside and do shit like that.
I love a sit down,
Yeah,
I'm starting to love a sit down.
It is nice, isn't it?
Sometimes I just like, I'll just sit there, whether I have something on that I'm watching or I might be listening to music. Sometimes I might just lay down. I'm like, let me chill for a bit.
Yeah.
I've started doing it recently.
I was literally yesterday. The other day I was sitting down in the living room, and the little TV thing that like bounces up and down, just like the one that like goes around the screen.
When it's like a screensaver thing.
Yeah, and it just bounces up and down. I was just sitting there thinking to myself and just watching that.
That's funny. That's funny. I imagine getting there. I have the guy who cuts my hair, my barber. He's a much older guy, a Jamaican guy, and the way he talks on life is hilarious. Like, I feel like he does that. He's a very minimal, simplistic guy. I feel like there's a chance he might even listen to this, but he's a very minimal, simplistic guy. Yeah, and I feel like whatever it is, he's clocked it. I feel like whatever it is in life, he's clocked it. Like, he's got his sweet spot, his niche. Yeah. And he just doesn't care or listen to any of that stuff. Obviously, he has the privilege of, not a privilege, but he has the obviously he grew up without any of this, so he was already at an age where he wasn't gonna.
Yeah, he had to become accustomed to it rather than grow out of it.
So he was already at an age when social media really came about. He was already a fully grown man with enough kids and enough stuff to do. So he was never gonna get into it. But when I'm getting my haircut and I talk to him, which by the way, barbers, I go to the barber, it's like a therapy session.
For real.
If their barber does it right, I swear to God, it's like a therapy session. But I talk to him and I listen to it and I'm like, this guy, whatever it is, he's found him. He's found what's good for him. Like, I think it was Christmas. I don't know if it was this Christmas or last Christmas, but I was talking to him. It must have been last Christmas because we were talking about Christmas that had passed. So it must have been last Christmas.
What, 2020 or 2019?
Yeah, 2019 Christmas.
2019,
And I was talking to him about Christmas, like, oh, how was your Christmas, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, oh, it's decent, whatever. And I was like, oh, that you was with your kids? I was like, no, kids went over to their mums. So I was like, oh, you was on your own. But I said it in a way of like, oh, like pitying him, like you was on your own for Christmas.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I just did my thing. And I was like, but the way he came across, he was just so fully 100% assured. And like the way he said that you could just, at that point, you could just sit down.
Yeah, just become at peace.
I feel like he hit that point a while ago for him.
Yeah.
He doesn't need anything like materialistic. He's just good to sit there and chill.
I think it changes the game, man.
I feel like it does. I feel like it does.
Changes the game.
And I think about if I would get there or not. I feel like I would get there, but because I really feel like now there's a point I'm gonna get to where I'm never gonna need a phone.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm
that
never
too.
gonna need a phone.
Like I've literally been saying to my friends, I'm like, bro, I just might get like an iPod and like a flip phone and just call it a day.
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna get to that point. Like, I'm gonna have my little picnics, I'm gonna have my kids, I'm gonna have my wife, I'm gonna have whatever I have going on business wise, but I'm not gonna be the one that has to be on social media for it.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna chill. I'm gonna have no need to do that.
Yeah. My
profile by then, my social media profile would have been gone, would have been deleted, and I'm just gonna. I feel like I'm gonna get there.
Yeah,
I feel like it's gonna be.
It's like getting to a point where you're just living your life, man. I think it goes like time back to that thing you were saying at the beginning, where you're like, there's just a certain point where it's like, you just don't care, man. It's like,
and it's all a work in process because there are, even to this day, there's sometimes where I just pick up my phone and I go on Instagram.
Yeah.
But I haven't got a message. Subconsciously, why am I picking up my phone to go on social media to see what people are doing? So it's still a work in process. I'm still, I'm still trying to be free. Still trying to be free from it all. A lot of people, I don't know what they give the definition of freedom, but I feel like being free, especially when we talk about mentally, I feel like it's not being like a slave to your urges.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I feel like being free is. And
definitely,
at some points I can be there where I just don't care, but then like I said, at some points I might just pick up my phone and go on Instagram and then scroll.
It's like a muscle, isn't it? Though, like you get better at like exercising it. Scroll
posts, and you gotta get used to it. It's a work in progress though, because that's what I'm saying though. Like I grew up my first half of my adolescence without any of it, but I can still right now have that urge to pick up my phone and scroll. So what chance does like a young kid have that is being raised through it now?
Yeah, like for real, man. It's like we're like in like our 20s now. It's like we have like some general control over our habits and stuff like that. But like a kid is like, it's over.
I would love to just be in the school right now just to see how they like converse with each other.
Yeah.
And how they just live life. I wonder how like the news that we hear, I wonder how quickly it goes to them. What news do they get? I don't know, man. It's just I just feel sorry for them, man. I feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
I don't know how much they can and they don't have no choice over it. They have no choice over the matter.
It's hard. It's such a difficult thing, especially with like the peer pressure after it as well. Everybody has social media. You feel like you need it. Even like as an adult, you feel like you need social media.
I don't know. I've never felt that. I've always been calm with like not knowing, because I'm not on like Twitter and anything. So there's a lot of things that can just, even on Instagram, some things might just, because I remember. So if we talk about social media now, and the effects of it and how it can just pull you in without you even knowing. The same thing can be for celebrities. We see celebrities on TV and whatnot, and or through social media, and we get attracted to these celebrities, and these celebrities in our minds, they're like way out there. They're like, they live another life. And I was thinking a while ago, basically, Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
A while ago, he's got his wife now, his second wife, with like I think got 3 kids or something, or 4 kids. But a while ago, a few years ago, when he cheated on his second wife when she was pregnant. Now, I'm a big fan of Kevin Hart and everything he does, and just as in person, as a businessman, as the way he looks at life, on top of his shows.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of him. So when it came out of him and him cheating on his wife who's pregnant, I saw it on my discovery page, and I was like, I saw one thing, I was like, it's not true, rumor or something. I left it, moved on. A few hours later, I'm seeing a couple more, and I'm like, this is not true, just media, whatever.
Yeah.
Already I'm at the stage where, whatever year this was, maybe a couple years ago or something, but already I'm at the stage where not everything I see I should believe.
Yeah.
So I'm like, whatever. And it's maybe like that night or the next day, I go back on it and I'm seeing everything now. Bunch of things, Kevin Hart cheated, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, come on, no way this guy cheated. I still don't believe it, but I've seen it everywhere.
Yeah.
And then the video came out of whatever, him and whoever he was with. And I was like, no way. But beforehand, when you'd hear him talk and whatnot, he would talk about how, because he cheated in his first marriage, and he'd talk about how, he'd talk about how, he'd learned so much and he made a mistake once, so he can't make it again. And, the girl he has now, he appreciates her. She's his ride or die, whatever. And he was just preaching so many things. I was like, yes, like I believed and I felt.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's my guy, Kevin Hart. Like I put him on like this. Yeah, like that's my guy. And then this thing came out, and I felt like not physically, but like I felt myself like I was hurt.
Yeah.
That this guy cheated on this guy I don't even know. I just see him from the TV screen, and he cheated on his wife or whatever, and I felt hurt like he had done something to me.
Yeah, it's because almost like you trusted him.
That's what I'm saying. And like for like a week or so, I stopped watching his stuff. I see him and I'm like, that's not the Kevin Hart I know, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then I got to a moment where I stopped myself and I was like, I don't know this guy. This guy don't know me. He has no idea who I am. He don't know my name. Why am I letting something that's happening in his life, something that's as external can be?
Yeah, it's super personal.
And I'm letting
issue.
it affecting me and the way I feel when I see him or whatever. And I just, thankfully, I identified that a huge problem in that. And I was like, I need to stop this, like, looking at celebrities and like they're human beings.
Yeah.
They're just human beings. Even though I've only seen them through screens, they're human beings just like me. They're not anything more important than me or special than me. They're just other people who more people know them than more people know me.
What do you think of this? There's like this rising trend of like celebrities' personal matters becoming like public gossip and stuff like that. Like their like interpersonal relationships and all that stuff.
I feel sorry for them, man, because I love my privacy. I love my privacy. Like I'm the kind of person where even on my social media that I have now, whatever you know about me is because I want you to know it.
Yeah.
Like you would not know something about me that I don't want you to know. Everyone in my life is on a need to know basis. So I love my privacy. So when I think about, famous people who like, they can't even go out for a walk, a supermarket or whatever, they can't even have anything happen in their life, something that's mad serious to them, whether it's a lover, a family member, whatever, they can't do anything like without somehow it leaking to the whole world and the whole world knows about it. I'm like, I feel sorry for them, man, like, especially if it's like not on them.
Yeah.
If they're the ones that are talking about it and putting it out there, then you're cool, you're doing what you're doing. But if it's like leaks that someone else who might have known has told someone, or people just gossiping about you, and I feel sorry for them, I'm not gonna lie, because that's the right everyone should have. Everyone should have the right to their own privacy, whatever they want to keep private. So the fact that goes on, I feel sorry for them.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate, but I feel like nowadays, if there's any part of you that knows you're going to be doing anything influencer related, I think there's a part of you that has to be prepared to forfeit some of that. just from the nature of the job, isn't it?
Even when I think about podcasting,
yeah,
I think there's gonna be, because I'm a private guy, I think there's gonna be moments where I'm going to have to talk about things that, well, not I'm gonna have to, but if I really want it to be what I want it to be, I might have to just talk about something that I might not just, share.
Yeah.
So you have to be aware that these things happen.
Yeah, I think it's about thinking about how relevant it is to the type of thing that you're doing.
When I identified why I shouldn't be so affected by whatever Kevin Hart, whatever any celebrity is doing. I unfollowed all the celebrities I was following. I was following like maybe 18 different celebrities, like different verified profiles. And I just went and I unfollowed every single one. Kevin Hart, all these different artists, Drake, whoever it is, I just unfollowed them. And then that was when I started I don't care what any celebrity is doing.
Yeah.
Like, I follow maybe I wouldn't call them celebrities. They're like 3 famous people. But they're people who, first of all, they don't even post that much. They're like people who they're like me. They're like you. They're like away from it. Even though they're famous people, they love their privacy.
Yeah, just doing
They post that once in a while.
Yeah.
So like they don't even post that much, or they're just someone that I'm really, really like invested in their work, whether it's music or different actor or whatever.
Yeah, you just want to keep up.
But sometimes there's people that follow me like 30 different celebrities. I'm like,
yeah,
that's so much information. Like,
yeah, I feel like for me, I did a similar thing on like Twitter, where I used to follow like a bunch of musicians and things that I liked, and then I quickly learned, I was like, yo, people say a lot of stupid stuff on Twitter. People say some really dumb stuff.
I want to know, fam.
And I don't want to listen to your song and just be thinking about that one dumb tweet you made.
Yeah, I'm mad thankful I'm not on Twitter, because all day to just keep scrolling and just seeing what. Like, I don't want to keep scrolling and be seeing everybody's thoughts about a certain thing. Because I don't care. Like, if it's something that matter that I really want to talk about, I'll talk about the people that I'm good friends with, I have good relationships with, and I'll message them like, oh, what do you think about this, whatever. Yeah. But I don't want to keep scrolling, and I'm seeing people's things. I feel like a part of it as well was that earlier when you said people feel like they just want to share and people want to know about what they're thinking. I feel like another part of it is people want to be quick to know what's going on. They want to be the first to see something and be like, oh, everybody look at this, and then everybody looks at them like,
they want to be the first.
They were the first person
break
to
the news.
Yeah. I feel that's like part of it.
I feel like that's where the cancel stuff starts from, right? It's like somebody wants to be like the first person to be like, guys, I found out this person sucks. It's like I found that out.
Yeah, I even think about that. All the people who like go back and find people's tweets. Who does that?
You have to be like, I feel like that's the mentality you have to be going to go and like, I'm going to go through Kevin Hart's Twitter for like 10 years.
That's what I'm saying. And scroll down and find stuff. I'm like,
you have to go in with the intention of like, I want to out this guy 100%.
That is crazy. There are some serious problems with you.
That I don't get. I don't understand how you're sitting in your bed and you're just like, I'm agitated.
Yo, that's some serious like internal issues.
Yeah, 100%.
For you to be like, I'm gonna go through this whole person's.
I want to find out
and just see whether people go find something incriminating or they're just interested in what that person was saying 6 years ago.
Scroll for like to find someone's tweets from like 10 years ago.
Ridiculous. Like I can't even imagine someone in that mindset to do that. Yeah. Someone in the mindset to tweet something so aggressively and angrily because they feel it, that's already like, I can't imagine that. But then someone in the mindset to be like, I'm going to go through your feed from years ago to find something and then bring it to the forefront. And that's ridiculous. But you mentioned when you're doing some sort of influencer role.
Yeah, you forfeit a level of privacy.
Yeah, I feel like that's something I've been learning recently. Vulnerability is a key. What would you call vulnerability? To be vulnerable. It's like a state.
Like being confident. It's like being confident. I don't know what you'd call that.
I feel like it's like a state, like to be vulnerable.
I'd probably put it like as like a character trait or something. But yeah,
I feel like that's like a big like. That's like a big thing, basically.
That was a big thing of like 2020, right? Like quite a few celebrities showing a much more vulnerable side of themselves.
It is a big thing to be, because like you said, influencers, there's a level of the best influencers. I feel like they have revealed a level of vulnerability. They've been vulnerable to some extent. The ones who are the most popular to some extent have been vulnerable a bit.
Yeah.
Because even if there's someone who's like chasing clout or something, they're not even like a down-to-earth person. Even though they're doing stuff for clout or whatever, there's still a level of vulnerability that they're opening to themselves, to the world to.
Yeah. I think with the influencer thing and being vulnerable, I think you can do really well and not be. If you're going to be vulnerable or like share a part of your life, you can't like do half and half. Like it's all or nothing. Once you've opened that floodgate, now it's like you can't close that door anymore.
Once you've showed someone a pattern,
yeah,
you're going to have to, you can't blame them for you acting a certain way to them getting angry that you've acted a certain way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But when I think about other people podcasts and other podcasts that are huge now, and we think about the 2020 we just had and people having to move into like a virtual episodes where they have guests on and they talk through Zoom or whatever it is.
Yeah, or Skype or whatever.
I think about obviously the thought crossed my mind how I could do that, how we could do that. And I thought no, I don't want to do it because that's not how I want to interact with my guests. That's not how I want it to be for the viewers, because it's not how I'd like it when I watch my podcast that I like. Some of my favorite podcasts. But I thought I can afford not to do that. One, because it just happened when I just started my podcast, so it's not like I've got a set audience that are expecting something from this Kazi podcast. And other podcasts that I watch that are huge, that do release every 2 weeks, every 1 week, they can't just, what I did, they can't just take a break of 2-3 months because of COVID.
Yeah.
They've got an audience now that expects something from them.
Well, it's not even like audiences, like there's sponsors who are like, well, we're supposed to be sponsoring an episode next week. You can't stop.
Yeah. You've got people now that are
expecting.
Yeah,
you've
so
got like too many things.
You don't have the luxury to just be like, no, I'm not doing it now. I'm just gonna take a break. It's so funny, but so with the vulnerability thing, influencers have to be, they have to release a level of vulnerability. Vulnerability is so important even in relationships. Whether it's on a minor level or it's like a huge scale, you have to be vulnerable to some extent. If it's two people coming together, getting a relationship, you have to be vulnerable with that person for it to actually thrive. There's a level of vulnerability you have to have with that person, whether it's your girlfriend or your boyfriend, that to really be successful in your relationship.
And you feel like it's the same with an audience?
It's similar with an audience. But not so much about the audience, more about the vulnerability. Like even with me and you, when I came to you and I spoke about getting you on it, I had to now, like J. Cole, one of my favorite artists, he has this line where he says, if they don't know your dreams, they can't shoot them down. But I had to, if I really wanted to get you on it and I was serious about it, I had to explain to you what I felt and what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. And I left it open for you to be like, yeah, no, that's crap. I don't want to do that. This is that, whatever. But I had to be even though it's a minor level, it's not so serious, but I had to be vulnerable enough to show you what I have in my mind and the thoughts I have for you to be like, all right, cool, I want to do it, I don't want to do it. So over the past few year or so, I was thinking about that a lot and thinking about who I want to be vulnerable with in my relationship with other people, whether it's family or just friends. And it's important people don't think about it a lot. But you said what people expect. You were talking about people expecting things from you.
Yeah.
Sometimes this is where like we're changing the subject a bit, but this is where like, I don't give girls credit.
Okay.
This is where I don't give females credit.
Okay.
Because females now, people get hurt. It's part of life. We get hurt in life, whatever. These are feelings you're bound to feel in life. So let's say, because for example now, a girl will get hurt in a past relationship or whatnot. A guy done her wrong, heartbroken. And then the next person that they get with will show the exact same characteristics of the old person. And then I'm like, so this is what I talk about when you talk about people expecting something. When people expect something from you because that's what you've shown them, you can't then get annoyed when they get angry that you haven't carried on doing what you've been doing.
Yeah, exactly. If so when an expectation, then people have to follow. Yeah,
exactly. So when a girl gets another guy now, and the guy is showing his like his patterns, his true colors. He's showing them, and then he ends up hurting her. And this is why so many girls would be like, "Oh, like men ain't this, men ain't that." But I'm like, the guy, whoever you been with, whoever hurt you, has shown you the same. He's showing you his colors.
Yeah, the same
time after time,
patterns.
And then he doesn't act the way you wanted him to act in your heart, and then you're like, "Oh, men are this, men are that." Like people, human beings in general. But I feel like some girls are so bad at reading people.
Yeah. Well, do you think it's like less of bad at reading people, and do you think maybe it's more that sometimes your emotions can blind you a bit? Like sometimes, because like that's the problem. Like people do really stupid things because of the emotion of love. Like they do some stupid things that they wouldn't do under any other circumstance. And I think sometimes that emotion puts like some serious psychological blinders on you, where you just like you're like, this is all I can't see.
No, you 100%. Your emotions do blind you, and I can speak for first hand of my emotions blinded me. Like it was like I feel like I'm very good at reading people, and I can, I can suss people out quickly. Like I know what they're about. And there was just a moment where, as my mind does, my mind raised these red flags of whoever it was I was with. And normal me will be like, all right, cool. I've seen that. I've recognized that. I know that's not what I want. I'm staying away from that. But because I had already gone too far, my emotions blinded me in that. So I recognize all these red flags, but my emotions are like, nah, it's not what it is.
Nah, this is,
it's all right. And then I carried on going with it, and then at the end of it, blew up in my face. But so emotions they do definitely blind you. But I think it is a lot about people can't read people. People are just bad.
I think that's also true, yeah.
People are just bad at reading people. Like, it's something that, and I don't know how you learn it. I feel like I'm okay at it. I feel like I'm good at it. I can read who I feel like I would get along with in whatever sense.
It's just pattern recognition, isn't it? Just like assessing and the certain patterns and be like, this person works well with me, this person doesn't work well with me based on this and that, and you start to build a picture. I don't know how you learn that. I don't know how I learned it. It was just something I feel like I think some people maybe just do it naturally without thinking, but I think for some people they have to go out their way and like actually really sit down to think about it.
To think about it.
Yeah.
There were so many people in like school that as I got older, like 10, 11, like 16, 17, 18, I just started reading them. And even outside the people I have now around me, not around me, but the people that I somewhat have some sort of relationship with, connection with, it's good people. It's people who are like-minded, who are like me. And I don't really have anyone in my life that could like disappoint me, if that makes sense.
Do you think it's maybe a thing of you have to learn about yourself as well, though? Like I think it requires you need to know yourself a lot. Everything.
Because
I have recently, like, I feel like I'm decently introspective, but this last year especially, I've like really thought about, like, I've had to assess certain things in my life, and I've had to learn a lot. And like learning about myself, you then go back to some people that you look at them differently, and you're like, oh, I didn't see this before. Everything
in life starts first within you. I believe that every single thing starts first within you. You've got to make sure you're happy with who you are and yourself. If you're trying to like find work, you have to like understand what work you want to do.
What kind of work fulfills you.
Exactly, and where you want to go. If you're trying to get in a relationship and you're trying to love someone, you have to love yourself. You have to understand yourself and like yourself and be happy within yourself. Everything starts from within. Like, I can't even stress how important it is. That's why even another thing about the social media stuff is that the social media stuff shows you everybody else. It shows you everyone else. So if you're looking at people's stories, you're reading what people are tweeting, you're looking at what pictures people are posting, it shows you everyone else, what everyone else are doing, what they're doing in their lives, whether that's false or not.
Yeah.
It shows what everyone else is doing in their lives. There was I think it was Drake, he put up in his story, but there was something that everybody was sharing on social media, and it was about that, like how everything starts within you, within yourself. But even this, like, people share stuff, I don't think they really like live it.
Kind of going back on that point, I guess, of like knowing yourself, do you think that's why maybe when it comes back to relationships that people might keep getting back into bad relationships, because I think oftentimes that people are, it's the psychological blinders, but also people want to have someone because I think a lot of people aren't super satisfied with just being with themselves yet.
I spoke about this a bit on like the second episode here with Leo. When I left school, because obviously in school I went to a boys' school, you're with everybody 9 to 3 every single day, Monday to Friday. You're surrounded by, peers, colleagues, whatever. When I went to college, when I left school, went to college with people that I didn't really, enjoy being around. So I didn't go in that much. I sort of isolated myself. But then I isolated myself and I was at home a lot. And then I realized I was feeling weird. And I couldn't touch on why I was feeling like this. But it was just simply the fact that I hadn't learned to be with myself. I hadn't learned to be content with my own company and who I am. So I went from being with people that are all my age constantly every single day, then going to college, especially the college, you're there like 3 days a week. There's not that much stress. You don't have to be there 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I isolated myself, and even in them 3 days, I always didn't go in. So I was on my own all the time, blah, blah, blah. Especially I grew up an only child, so it's not like I had brothers and sisters around me 24/7.
Yeah, it's just you.
So then I went from being around everyone to then being on my own. And at first it was like, this is like mad weird. Why do I feel like I'm missing something?
You feel like that first bout of loneliness.
Yeah. And then after a while we clicked on like, oh damn, like I had never really been on my own like this. Even though I grew up an old child, it was just me and my mum at home. I'd go to school every single day with other people. So in relationships, that is a big thing, especially with certain people that jump from relationship to relationship. It's like then there could be many reasons, but I feel like one of the reasons are they're not exactly comfortable with themselves or with their personal space. That they feel like when they're single or not, when they've just left a relationship, they have to go find someone else now. But I've met some people who have it patterned down, like they're just 100% content with themselves and in their own space. And I met some people like that, and I'm like, I mean, I like my own space, but there are some times where, I want to go do stuff.
Like the bar for someone coming into your life for a relationship gets way higher when you're like, I'm really good just being alone. So in order for you to come in, you have to be actually adding something here.
Yeah, it's something I've practiced over the last year or so, 2 years maybe. I guess the word for it is meditation, but I wouldn't say that I meditate, but it's just practicing being alone with my own thoughts, because a lot of people can't do that. Like, and I don't think people here, I don't think they understand really what that means.
Yeah, being
alone with your own thoughts. Sometimes you just, put your phone silent, take it away, whatever, social media, whatever, TV off, whether you're outside or you're in your room or whatever, and just sitting there in silence and just taking a second to breathe. And I feel like everybody should do it.
Yeah.
And, at first you're thinking about something, but, what I do is, when I would do it, I would focus on my breath and my breathing. And then whatever I'm thinking about just goes. And then my mind just going everywhere else, but not in a bad sense. It's just going everywhere else, as in it's just going wherever it wants to go. But not in the sense of I'm thinking about what I have to do here or there, or what someone else is doing, or what I need, And in the moments is when the things that are really pressing on you would come to the forefront, because you've removed everything else. But some people can't identify that straight away somewhere in their subconscious. But when you learn to be alone with your thoughts and you learn to practice that, I guess you'd call it meditation. But I feel like there's connotations behind meditation that people have. That's why I don't like saying that word. But when you just practice sitting there in silence,
I guess you could call it mindfulness.
Mindfulness, that would be the word.
Yeah.
When you practice that mindfulness and sitting there in silence, especially someone who isn't good at, identifying the things that are pressing them about certain situations, when you release all the external factors that are going on in your life, in your head, all the things that are really pressing you in there, they will just come to your forefront and you will just notice them, and then from there you move on how to deal with it.
I am of the belief that people know the things going wrong in their head, and I think people have these moments which they hear that. I personally think, I don't know if you agree, I think people are afraid to hear those voices properly.
I don't.
Like, maybe on a surface level, at the very least, they know. There
are people like that where they recognize something that is wrong, something that they feel that is wrong, and they think about it, and then they, whether it's they're consciously pushing to the side or subconsciously they push it to the side, they don't think about it. There are people like that, but I feel like there's a lot of people that they don't even know what is eating them up.
I think on like at least a surface level, everyone understands. I think there's like some really deep stuff where like you start looking at it, like you really assess yourself. And I think most people don't do that.
But that's what I feel like it is. I feel like them things are surface level things.
Yeah.
I feel like things like losing weight, I need to lose weight, I need to save money, whatever it may be. I feel like those are surface level things, especially when the things that you could actually like see. You could see money go in your bank account, money in your wallet. But I feel like there's tons of things underneath that are much on a deeper level. Because I'm a deep guy.
I agree.
So I feel like there's things 100%. That people can't recognize. Like there are people that, like, there's toxic human beings out there, but there are some toxic guys out there. There. Like, I met them. But they don't know why they're toxic.
No.
They do things that I've heard guys, that I've spoken to guys and I've heard them just like on a really like pessimistic vibe. Like they just know, like, I'm gonna like, they'll talk about a relationship and I'm gonna mess it up. I'm gonna cheat on this girl. Like they talk about like such negative things in their life, but they don't understand why. And I know for a fact, because I know that as I get older, there are things that I do, or there are reasons why I'm the way I am, and then I don't notice it. I know I'm that way, but I didn't really think about why I am that way.
Yeah. And
then I get older and something clicks, and I'm like, okay, that's why I do that. That's why I act this way.
No, I agree. Like, I feel like there's people who haven't even like started or like tried.
There's grown adults who ain't even like.
That scares me, man. Like the idea of like somebody like living their life dying and never actually having figured out who they were as a person.
I feel like when you get to, especially if, I don't know, but I could be chatting rubbish, but I don't think like you would ever get to like you're grown, you're old, whatever, 50s, 60s, 70s. And I feel like there's a certain, you
have to, right? Because like there's like some pretty ignorant old people, and I feel like you can't be an ignorant person if you do like some deep soul searching, because you would have figured out the reason why you're ignorant, right?
It's tiring though, man. It's tiring.
It is tiring.
It's tiring. Like I saw a picture where it said, I forgot it said something like, I hate the fact that I'm like, the word was introspective, but it basically saying, oh, I hate the fact that I'm introspective. Sometimes I just want to be a cloud. And I feel like that sometimes. Like sometimes things happen and my mind just registers it straight away with whatever it's about. Whether even if it's with me, like I might want to do something, and then my mind will register why.
You're too self-aware about
it. Yeah. Sometimes I'm too self-aware. I'm like, oh, just let me make a mistake.
Yeah,
like
I actually have like I have a joke with one of my friends when we're like just talking about like just tough like stuff being difficult, and we're like, man, maybe I'll just be an alcoholic, and I'm like, and he's like, yeah, but we're both too self-aware to actually do that, right? It's like you're too self-aware because the minute you start drinking, you're like, you know why you're doing it. You just put it back down.
That's what I'm saying. That's like sometimes I'm just like, I want to be up there. Like, I just want to do stuff and not even think for a second why I've done it. But everything I do, because like, even though it's a good thing, but like, it could be tiring because like, when you want to do things that aren't so, when you have that initial feeling to do something that's not, the best thing to do for you.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't even go and make that mistake because like, my mind just goes, wait a minute, don't do that. That's not smart.
And the thing is, if you do it, right, if you end up doing it, it eats you up. You're like, I'm doing something
I know why
wrong.
I done that.
Like, this is bad. I know this is bad.
Yeah, it's like, that's what I'm saying. It can be so tiring. Like, I just want to be petty. I just want to be petty. I just want to do some petty. Like I was, when I talk about a story, then we'll wrap it up. Long story short, I was seeing someone.
Yeah.
And then that ended. And then a while later, we were talking a bit.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, cool, I want to start seeing them again. So we're talking a bit, and I made it quite clear that I wanted to try and start seeing them again, even though I was the one that sort of ended it the first time.
Things off.
But they had a lot of things going on right now, so they made it clear to me that they're just not in that space. And I was like, cool.
Nah, cool, yeah.
But time went on, and we're talking here and there. But I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. I'm still whatever.
Yeah.
So there's been a moment now. This is so funny. So there's been a moment now. I had a picture like in my phone of like someone else. Not a crazy picture, just me with another girl.
Yeah.
And then fast forward now, this person tells me, oh, like, if she came to me and was like, oh, she wants to start something, see how it goes, I would have been like, yeah, I'm down for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't like at her like
beck and call.
Waiting for her.
Yeah.
But then she told me like she's seen someone else, whatever. And whatever, you know, she just wanted to let me know.
Yeah.
So like, you know, there's nothing like in the grey area.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool. But like the pettiness in me. The pettiness in me wanted to send her a picture and be like, I'm cool, do you?
It's like, no, I'm good too, man. You know, I'm also fine.
That's the pettiness in me wanted to do that. But like I said, straight away my soul could have said, come on, don't do that.
You can't do that.
You know that's not you.
You can't do that.
You know that's not the kind of person you are. You would regret it after.
But I feel like, you know,
but I was like, oh, just let me be petty this one moment. Let me just do something so petty. I just want to be, just let me do it. I just want to be petty. But my mind just always like, come on, bro, don't do that. Yeah. And also, it would come so sweet because the way she was like telling me, like, oh, I'm talking to someone else. It was in a way of like, you know, this is the best thing for you. Like, I really care about you. I hope you do well. And I'm like, whoa, like,
oh my god.
Like,
sometimes those messages are the worst, and like, alright, I get it. Just like,
I get it. Like, generally, I was like, all right, cool. If we did see where things went, that would have been sweet.
Yeah.
But like I said, I was talking with other people, so I wasn't like at your like waiting for her to message me.
Yeah.
But the way she had told me, it was like a thing where I was like, I'm really sorry, but you know, you've got to move on, whatever. I was like, so I looked at my phone, looked at the picture, I was like,
he just wanted to be like, yeah, don't worry, I have.
But I thought, it's funny, man. Everyone, I appreciate you guys tuning in, appreciate you listening. Episode 5, this will be in 2 parts, so
yeah, a little bit different.
Hope you enjoyed it, man. Make sure you're liking, make sure you're subscribing to the channels. You know, we're everywhere: Spotify, YouTube, everywhere. Appreciate you for tuning in. Hope you have a good morning, a good day, good night. Stay safe, stay sweet, stay street.